person unless you get the guidance. After your mother, you get the guidance of the Guru. The mother is the first Guru, because whatever baby grows up, learns to hear or talk or walk or whatever it is, the mother is the main Guru. So we have put mother in the highest pedestal of our society. Matri Devavo. Taittiriya Upanishad clearly says Matri Devavo. And anybody who respects the mother, then the mother wants him to be groomed by a Guru. So she gets him admitted to a school. And then 25 years at least you have to spend with the Guru. And it is the Guru who shapes you into an officer, into a professor, into a doctor or a lawyer. And that is your lifetime vocation, and you work on that. Then comes the second phase of life, which we call the grahasth. Nobody can say that this is not an accepted norm of our society. After your education, it is your Guru. It is Guru who asks you to enter into a marriage. And the marriage is performed according to religious sacraments of each religion. Every religion has its own laws for marriage, own sanskaras for marriage. And marriage in Hindu sanskaras is a religious sacrament before the fire, the goddess of fire, Agni, Sakshi. All this is done with a purpose. To show guidance to the man in his pursuit of happiness. And it is the Guru who guides him that you get married now. So then there is another span of life when you get another person associated with you, your wife. Now I am very happy. In old age, like Mr. Venkata Subbiah or me or others who cross 75 or 80s, they forget the wife. And I am saying the other way also, the wives also forget the old man. because wife is a mother. So the mother is attached to the children and grandchildren. So the old man doesn't get that proper company. But those people who are wise, husband and wife, they give more company to the husband in old age. And husband gives more company to the wife in the old age. Because otherwise children are settled abroad. Most of the Kannada people I have seen, the families, I have talked to them, where are your children? They say, my children are in Canada, my children in the USA, and we are all alone. The tragedy is in old age, if husband and wife don't love each other in the same way as they did when they were young, then that is the biggest catastrophe. But you do not know the Swarga, the real happiness which came to your family is through wife only. Many people do not realize. There is no Swarga in the family unless you have got a sweet wife, a Madhubhashini. I am not saying this is my view, this is the Vedic view of life. पत्नी वही है जो मधुभाषिणी हो, पुत्र वही है जो पिता का आज्ञाकारी हो। ये हमारे संस्कारों में। और जो पति अपनी पत्नी का एहसान नहीं मानता, उससे बड़ा कृतघ्न आदमी कोई नहीं होता। बिकॉज सारा सुख, सारा त्याग और सारी तपस्या ये पत्नी ही उसके लिए करती है। और जब रामचंद्र जी वनवास जा रहे थे तो सीता जी ने कहा उनको कि मैं साथ जाऊंगी। तो राम ने कहा कि वहाँ क्या करोगी, वन है, वहाँ कठिन होगा। तो उन्होंने एक शब्द कहा, तुलसी की रामायण में है, मेरी तो यही महामति है, पति ही पत्नी की गति है। तो जब गति एक दूसरे के बीच में है और सुख और दुख सब समान है एक दूसरे के, तो 2 घंटे कम है, 4-5 घंटे कम से कम हो जाए, फिर आपकी उम्र 150 साल हो जाएगी। बिकॉज असली सुख आपको वहीं से मिलेगा। और मैं गांधी जी के शब्दों में बता रहा हूँ। गांधी जी की जब बात नहीं रही तो वो आए, उन्होंने पूछा कि आखिर में कस्तूरबा जी ने क्या किया था। तो उनके महादेव देसाई ने उनको बताया, आज मुतुर्जी नहीं है, हमें वही सब कुछ बताते थे। तो उन्होंने, महादेव देसाई ने बताया कि बा ने स्नान किया और तुलसी पर जल चढ़ाया और उसके बाद शांत हो गए। तो गांधी जी ने सबसे पहले वही किया, स्नान करके तुलसी पे पानी दिया और सारी जिंदगी वही करते रहे जो कस्तूरबा ने किया था। गांधी जी की अपनी जीवनी में है। तो पत्नी और पति 2 शरीर जरूर होते हैं, लेकिन उनका ऑब्जेक्टिव, उनका आगे का भविष्य, बच्चों की सुख और इवन ग्रैंडसन समाज का सुख सलाह से होता है। हमारे यहाँ ये खास तौर पर ये बताया गया है कि जो पत्नी को जो भी हम विवाह के समय, शादी के समय जो वचन देते हैं, उन पर कायम रहना चाहिए। और जो कायम रहेगा वो 100 साल से ऊपर जिएगा, ये मैं आपको बता दूं। जो नहीं कायम रहेगा उसकी उम्र अपने आप कम हो जाएगी, शराब पीने लग जाएगा, सिगरेट पीने लग जाएगा। और पत्नी ये कभी नहीं करने देती आदमी को, तो सच्चे रास्ते पर पत्नी ले जाती है। और ये जो उम्र कुछ नहीं होता, उम्र 100 साल की हो, 50 साल की हो और 25 की भी हो, पत्नी होने के बाद आपको सलाह से काम करना चाहिए। ये हमारे संस्कारों में, और इसी से सुख है। तो हमारे बहुत महान व्यक्तित्व प्रोफेसर जी वेंकट सुवैया, इनकी तपस्या गुरु के रूप में, ही हैज बीन ए वंडरफुल टीचर एंड he still has interest in teaching and continues that. So really he has dedicated his life to the education. You see any religion, you see any mandate of any epics or any granth, there is no knowledge without it is being given by the Guru. In entire Upanishadic tradition, every dialogue starts from the Guru and Shishya. So he is giving what nobody else can give to us, and it must be preserved and preserved as much as we can. So far as India is concerned, it's a vast country. There are several languages, very powerful languages, particularly in Dravidians. There are 2 parts of India. One is up to Vindhyachal, and across the Vindhya in the south, these 4 languages. Tamil, a very powerful language, Kannada, another very powerful Kannada, and Telugu, another very powerful, and of course Malayalam also very powerful. Within Kannada, you have the Tulu area in South Kannada. That also is a very rich literature. I have studied recently the Tulu, and most powerful area is South Kannada these days from all points of view. So Tulu cannot also be ignored, but real mother language is Kannada, and they are all connected with the most ancient civilization, that is the Indus civilization. Indus civilization is as old as the Aryan civilization. Aryavarte Bharat Khande. Aryavart is a very big area in which Bharat is only a part of it. And the northern India is mainly inhabited by Aryans. And that is where we give more importance to Sanskrit and its other sister languages. But Sanskrit, before Sanskrit, and unless it was, Sanskrit was really again given a new grammar after Pali, and that grammar made the Sanskrit as Sanskrit. That is a Prakrit. From Prakrit, the languages were derived. And we have international relation of all these languages, Persian, Urdu, and Greek. All these languages, they are linked because originally the language was Prakrit. Wherever you are born, there is a language. Then there is the phonetics, resemblance of phonetics in the philology. This is most important. So language changes after some distances. This is a very vast subject, and Panini has written quite a lot of it in Sanskrit and grammar. But this is a wonderful work done for Kannada language. We have a very powerful literature in Kannada, and I am very happy now there is a thinking that Kannada literature should be preserved and translated into other languages. Because I myself was very much ignorant about Kannada literature. But after coming here, I got my own book translated in Kannada, and many people write to me about the book. Because languages are very friendly for you to understand the people, civilization and culture of that place. Without that, you cannot really know what Kannadigas are and what they stand for. Because 100 years old man, 105, 4, 3, they know what Kannadigas stand for. Because there is a steep decline of values in the society, and it happens from time to time. To resurrect it, you have to again draw your attention to the values which Kannadiga represent. It's a powerful society in which you must remind what your ancestors were, what your teachers were. All your university, I go to Mysore, there is no other university in the world, such powerful university as the Mysore University. And the tradition of that Mysore University is so superior. And the teachers, Coimbu himself was a teacher. I am so much fascinated by Coimbu's philosophy of Coimbu. After Tagore, if you find any romance in poetry and any romance in what he says, it's a Coimbu. There were, Radhakrishnan himself taught in Mysore. There is so much of wealth in Karnataka, literary wealth. Not this mining business and all this, no. I told Manu, if you are literary taste, this is the institution Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan promotes not only Kannada, but literary taste left by the great son of India, Dr. K. M. Munshi. Dr. K. M. Munshi, many cannot be forgotten by India, because he was a Gandhian and a great social reformist. He never sought office. Office were offered to him. I knew him as governor of Uttar Pradesh because I am now preparing for his memorial lecture. So I have dug out all correspondence of Dr. K. M. Munshi as the governor of UP. What a bright governor he was. I am nowhere near him actually. The correspondence which I found writing him to the President of India about his own functions. He asserted so much that Govind Vallabh Pant was the Chief Minister of UP, a very senior man, but yet he asserted that my view must prevail in these matters because I am the head of the state. And Dr. Rajendra Prasad accepted it on this side. A great, great assertor. And for him, this educative work, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, was a mission which he carried on despite being in office or not being in office. And everybody accepted his contribution. And today, when I see Vidya Bhavan doing this great work, I told Manu Baligar, whatever we can keep preserved, I think we should make the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan as the hub of our cultural activity. Because this is dedicated to this cause. And this is a landmark of honoring our great Professor Venkata Subbiah. I cannot make a prophecy, but I am reminded of a couplet from Alexander Pope. For modes of faith, let graceless zealots fight. He cannot be wrong whose life is in right. His life is in right. If his life is in the true direction, then he cannot commit any wrong. And then therefore, whether he is doing through the literature or any service, I think God will give him at least 50 years more. And I have seen, let me tell you another instance. There was a Swamiji in Shukartal in Uttar Pradesh. It is on record. Swami Kalyan Devji. Nobody knew him, whether he is a Brahmin or he is a Vaishya or he is a Kshatri, but nobody knew his caste. He was a Gandhian. And at the instance of Gandhian, he established a trust to serve the poor people. The cause of education of women and scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. And he got settled in a forest in Hastinapur. So I met him when he was about 120 years of age. And many people told me, have you seen who is 120? I said, it can't be 120, must be wrong claim. So I met him in one function where about 1 lakh or 2 people were listening to him. So I met him and I cross-checked that yes, he was 120. Then he invited me, are you a minister? I said, yes, I am a law minister. He says, what are you doing? There were ministers who, Lal Bahadur Shastri and others, who used to do good work. Now you people don't do any good work. So I said, Swamiji, I am prepared to do good work, but why you tell me? He says, there is no college for the girls in this area. I want to establish a college for women. What will you do? I said, you give me any responsibility, I will do it. No, today I have to set up a college. So I said, how can you do without a building? You are minister, call this deputy commissioner, call this commissioner. They were all in attendance. I called them, I said, where we can set up a college? He said, sir, this is an old building of a tehsil. You ask the chief minister, he will donate it to them. So we did that work in his presence. The building was given. VP Singh was the chief minister and commissioner, deputy commissioner, everybody said, okay, we will transfer the papers to Kalyan Dev Trust. And by evening we raised money for the college. Because he ordered, whatever Swamiji said, he said every kisan should give 1 rupee per kilo of sugar cane. So they all agreed and money was collected. And there is a beautiful degree college of women, Kalyan Dev Mahila Mahavidyalaya. He created 500 institutions in Uttar Pradesh and adjoining place. And then he said now the chief secretary Yogendra himself became very close to him. So some of us assured him that we will work with you. Then he set up many such schools. When he was about 140, Vajpayee called him that you change your clothes, we will like to honor you in Rashtrapati Bhavan. He said, my clothes will never be changed. These are my 25-year clothes, 5-year-old clothes. I wear only these clothes because I am a poor man. And if you want to honor me, I will come. But no change of clothes. So he went as a fakir and received the highest award from K.R. Narayan, who was president. We all attended that function. Then, after that Samman, he became 145 years old. And he called us, I have told the God, now this body does not support me. Now you authorize somebody else to do your work. And he said, Swamiji, you are hale and hearty. Why are you worried? No. Now I am going to register a trust. So a trust was registered. He handed over all his properties, everything to trustee, and within one day he expired. and 145 years or so. It's an example, anybody can go and see this. This is the Bhagavad Peeth in Hastinapur, Shukata, on the banks of Ganges. So poor, powerful people who have blessing of the God for good work, they give time to him. The age is no consideration. So I personally feel our professor, he is meant for a noble cause for the people of the country, and I have no faith, no hesitation to say this is the will of God, and everything depends upon will of God. People believe or may not believe it. All this, whatever exists, Isa Vasavidam, Sarvam Yat Kinchan Jagatyam Jagat, Te Nitekyate Bhundita Magrada Kasta Savedana. This is where his knowledge will continue and he will remain immortal in the history of the Karnataka. I thank you very much.